Check another box off of Kent Hughes' summer to-do list. Alex Newhook has a contract extension with the Montreal Canadiens. Let's break it down. Oh, and I have something I need you to help me with, too. They took their time, they weren't in a rush, and they got the Alex Newhook deal done. That's right, Kent Hughes signing the new forward to a contract extension after acquiring his negotiating rights just prior to free agency and prior to the NHL draft. And we're going to talk about Alex Newhook's contract and what the details of that look like today. But first, in an upcoming summer episode of Habs Hockey Report, I'd like to answer your questions with a Q&A mailbag for Habs Hockey Report. So if you have a question about the Montreal Canadiens, the Laval Rocket, or Habs prospects in general, drop that question in the comments section down below, and then come back. Be sure you subscribe to the channel, and you might just see your question read and answered. So Alex Newhook, acquired on June 27th, the day between the NHL awards and round one of the NHL draft. He was acquired from the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for 2023 31st and 37th overall draft selections from the Montreal Canadiens, along with defenseman Gianni Fairbrother. At the time, right here on this channel, I gave the trade a D in terms of a grade. But I gave the player that they acquired a grade of a B. And if you missed that episode, check that out right here. I gave the trade a D because I was not a fan, and am still not a fan, of the price that Kent Hughes paid to acquire Alex Newhook, because he gave up his late first-round selection and his early second-round selection. And I felt that was too steep of a cost for basically a roll the dice on a Kirby Doc 2.0. I think the player, in general, acquiring an Alex Newhook is a B. I just didn't like the price that they paid for him. Alex Newhook is another one of those guys that's got a lot of potential that hasn't realized that potential with the team who drafted him, the Colorado Avalanche. If you remember, the Avs drafted him back in 2019. He was a first-round draft selection. This is a guy who could put up some pretty significant points if he comes into his own. Last year with Colorado, in his 82 games played, he did not miss a game last year due to injury. I think that's an important caveat for a team like the Montreal Canadiens, who have year after year after year in recent history acquired and accumulated the most man games lost in the NHL consistently. So Alex Newhook is a guy who stayed healthy all year last year. Knock on wood. Let's hope that continues. But in those 82 games, he put up 14 goals, 16 assists for 30 points. Not terrible, particularly not terrible for a guy who really wasn't getting a ton of ice time towards the end of the season and in the playoffs, and who still really has yet to blossom into the player that caused the Avs to select him in the first round. So I think that's a good indication that he could have kind of a rebirth with the Montreal Canadiens. As far as the contract goes, Kent Hughes locked up Alex Newhook for 4 years. I think that's a very good term. It gives them a little bit of wiggle room, and the cap hit is pretty good. Coming in with a cap hit average annual value of $2.9 million. His actual base salary front loads at the beginning of the contract. You see here from our friends over at Puckpedia. He's actually getting paid $3.5 million in year one. It drops to $3.3 in year two, $2.7 in year three, with a $2.1 million base salary in year 4. That's good for negotiations or trading if they decide that 4 years was enough of Alex Newhook in Montreal. The key here for me is that it leaves him with 1 year of RFA. So that means at the end of this 4-year contract, with just $2.1 million in the base salary, they do have his negotiating rights still. They could still qualify him and then renegotiate his next contract extension, or they could do what they just did with Colorado. He would be an easy one to then trade his negotiating rights. The contract leaves Kent Hughes with a lot of options, and I like that. And with that AAV at 2.9, not a tremendous hit to the cap, and I think it's a good value for Alex Newhook. In his media availability this week, however, I find it interesting that everyone keeps calling him a center. And yes, he even admitted that he likes playing center, but he is a left winger. If they are going to be successful with Alex Newhook in the organization, they need to play him at left wing because they are starting to line up very nicely down the middle in Montreal with Suzuki, with Doc, with Monahan, with Jake Evans. You've also got some prospects on the way. I don't think Alex Newhook needs to get into the centerman conversation. Put him on a wing, and I think that he could be a great asset. I'd like to see them kind of explore him at left wing coming up this fall. And I think this could be a pretty dynamic signing, despite the fact that I didn't necessarily love the price tag that Kent Hughes gave up to acquire him. Don't forget, later on this summer, I'm going to open up the Habs Hockey Report mailbag and do a Q&A. So if you have a question you'd like to ask about the Montreal Canadiens, about the Laval Rocket, or Habs prospects in general, drop your question down below in the comments section. I'll make a note of it. And hey, if you want to be sure you find out if your question was answered, or if you just enjoy getting Habs content delivered right to your device every single week from our channel, then I invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button, tap the notification bell, and also hit the share button and share our video on your favorite social media platform. Now, I did say at the beginning of this video that that's one more item checked off of Kent Hughes' summer to-do list. You want to know what my other items that I have listed for Kent Hughes to get done in this offseason? Well, be sure to check that out in this video right here, and I'll see you back again next week on Habs Hockey Report. Thanks for watching.